The Republic cruiser drifted, not silently, but with a chilling stillness that hinted at a deeper problem than a failing engine. Within its cold, metallic corridors, a subtle, grotesque transformation was underway. It wasn't the roar of battle that filled the air, nor the crackle of blaster fire, but the slow, agonizing sound of minds being unmade. And in the heart of that escalating nightmare, General Obi-Wan Kenobi stood, a Jedi known for his calm resolve, his strategic brilliance, and his unwavering compassion for his men. But in this moment, all that seemed to fail him, replaced by a profound, gut-wrenching horror. This wasn't a fight he could win with a lightsaber or a clever tactic. This was an enemy unseen, unheard, yet twisting the very essence of his clone troopers from within. This was the moment in The Clone Wars where the animated series dared to venture into a realm of pure terror, exploring body horror and psychological warfare with a chilling intensity that few children's shows would ever attempt. It's the arc where parasitic brainworms, unleashed by the Separatists, began to systematically, grotesquely consume the minds of his friends, turning them into mindless puppets. The journey had begun, as many do, with what seemed like a routine, if dangerous, rescue mission on Zygerria. Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka were successful, but unknowingly, they brought back a far more insidious threat than the Zygerian slavers. Aboard the cruiser returning to Coruscant, the first subtle signs appeared. A flicker in a clone's eyes, a delayed response, a strange, uncharacteristic aggression. General Kenobi, ever observant, sensed that something was deeply wrong, a creeping malaise that felt alien, unnatural. He was surrounded by his steadfast companions, Commander Cody, Captain Rex, and countless other troopers, whose faces, though identical, he knew intimately, each with their own quirks, their own courage. These were the men he had shared countless battles with, the ones who had his back, whose lives he safeguarded with every fiber of his being. Then came the horrifying revelation. Not a virus, not a toxin, but a parasitic organism burrowing into the brain, taking root and seizing control. The infection spread rapidly, first to the unsuspecting, then to those trying to contain it. We watched, alongside Obi-Wan, as the very men he trusted implicitly, the men who were his brothers in arms, began to seize, their bodies racked by invisible invaders. Their eyes, once filled with intelligence and loyalty, became vacant, glazed over, soulless. Their movements became stiff, puppet-like, jerky, as if their own bodies were no longer under their command. This was the true nadir of the horror. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the unflappable general, was forced to bear witness to the ultimate betrayal, not by an enemy with a blaster, but by a parasitic entity that robbed his comrades of their very sentience. He stood helpless, watching as the vibrant personalities he knew so well were extinguished, replaced by a cold, calculating malevolence directed by the worm's will. It was a profound violation, not just of the body, but of the mind, the spirit, the very identity of his friends. The clones were still physically present. Their armor, their faces, their voices were the same, but the individuals he knew were gone, replaced by a cruel parody. It was body horror in its most visceral form, stripping away agency, reducing complex beings to mere biological machines. The psychological warfare was equally devastating. The enemy wasn't just killing his men, they were turning them into weapons against him, using their familiar forms, their trusted voices, to sow confusion, fear, and betrayal. Obi-Wan was trapped, not just by the confined space of the ship, but by the impossible moral quandary. How do you fight an enemy that wears the face of your friend? How do you defend yourself against those you swore to protect? The weight of command became an unbearable burden. He was forced to make unthinkable choices, to consider the no survivors protocol, a terrible calculus that would sacrifice all aboard to prevent the contagion to the heart of the Republic. The desperation in his eyes, the subtle tremor in his voice, revealed a man pushed to the absolute edge, grappling with the nightmare of having to potentially eliminate his own men to save the galaxy. Yet, even in the face of such utter despair, Obi-Wan Kenobi did not break. His eventual victory in this harrowing arc was not achieved through overwhelming force, but through sheer resilience, strategic cunning, and an unwavering commitment to finding a way, any way, to save his men. It was a hard-won triumph, a testament to his ability to adapt, to keep fighting, even when faced with the most nightmarish of circumstances. He collaborated, he improvised, and he pushed through his own revulsion and fear to find a solution, ultimately using extreme cold to incapacitate the worms. This arc stands as one of the most terrifying and psychologically impactful stories in the Clone Wars. It stripped away the grand heroism and presented a very intimate, very personal horror. It reminded us that war isn't just about battles won or lost, but about the profound, often invisible scars it leaves on those who fight it. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Jedi Master of calm and reason, faced a challenge that tested the very limits of his composure, his compassion, and his resolve. And in his quiet, desperate victory, we saw not just a Jedi Master, but a man of immense strength who could face the darkest of fears and still hold on to the light. This particular story arc left a lasting impression on so many of us, highlighting the true cost of the Clone Wars and the unique bond between the Jedi and their clone troopers. What were your thoughts on this arc? Did it scare you as much as it did me? Please share your reflections in the comments below. And if you found this exploration thought-provoking, consider subscribing or following for more deep dives into the stories and characters that shape our favorite galaxies.